Good afternoon, everyone. This is Henry, and as we get into tonight's video newsletter, I wanted to show you one of my favorite strategies around earnings. This is a prime time to cover this with you because we are just getting into the heart of earnings season. We spent some time discussing this in the chat room, but if you were not part of that conversation, I believe it's going to be worth your time because these strategies, even though the ones I'm going to show you have come out, just now, the strategies can be applied to Apple tomorrow, I think primarily, and then any of them that you want to trade next week, I think is a good place to look at it. So as traders, I think we're always very accustomed to looking at a chart, and we'll do that for the discussion in Apple, but you should feel just as comfortable covering your position by looking at a risk profile graph and the trade tab. So as we take a look at it here in Meta, the main reason why I like doing these is because they give you risk in only one direction. You notice how when we look at our zero line, we can see that everything that is above this body all makes money. Now granted, all the way up, this is a very modest gain, but that's part of what makes the strategy a high probability strategy. And what we're looking at doing is just finding the strike that you do not think Meta, in this case, I thought would not go under. So we can do this either technically, or we can do it off of the expected move found in the options chain, but I did not think we would be getting under the 595. So if that is the strike that you have in mind, all you have to do is navigate to it, find the body, and this is of course just through ThinkorSwim, but then buy that unbalanced butterfly. If you do it through that context menu, it'll automatically position you where you need the 1, the 3, and the 2 quantity. But again, what makes this strategy unique is that you could have fallen all the way to 600 and still been okay. Now, if the stock falls all the way to 550, yeah, there is just under $500 of risk per spread in this trade. But when you're sitting up here at 700, you don't have to guess about what the upside target would be. So I like that for Meta. I like this for the discussion this afternoon because it's what I've done in almost all of these names, right? So if you flip back over to Microsoft, the stock is down $20, but I think to call that target precisely to the downside is always a little tricky. And I was of the mindset that Microsoft would be more bullish, and that if it wasn't bullish, at the very least, it would not exceed this expected move to the downside. So you see another place of the same structure where I'm long the 440, I am short 3 of the 435s, and then I buy 2 as protection at the 430s. Now those quantities are just describing what the single lot trade would be should you start looking at it for yourself. Obviously you can scale that up to whatever you see fit, but when you see Microsoft trading down, think about that trader that is long the 440 put, thinking, all right, Microsoft's down, I'm going to make money. Well, likely that one gets crushed. The 435 is going to get crushed that much worse, and that leaves a strategy that was open for a credit in a really good spot. So again, I kind of just spread these out across the board, IBM being the same situation, and it just kind of feels like the environment to give them a try. Now, if we were to look at this in Apple, and to take the strategy and move it forward into tomorrow, the first thing we start with is the expected move. So you'll notice that this is sitting at about $10. And this can vary, it'll fluctuate a little bit. I've got to think that Apple is going to trade in the vicinity of 255 tomorrow. So then what we can look at doing is coming into the 265, right? Because if the expected move is 10 and we think it won't rally above that, you can put that strategy here. Let me move this over into the analysis graph. You can see what we've got. And this would be a way for a contrarian or someone that is a little bit bearish but does not know what bearish target they like to participate. As long as the stock does not rally above 265, you'll find yourself in a winner. Then, if you are more neutral, or let's just say that you want to shift and be more bullish, well then you just take the expected range from this 255, lands us at 245, and do exactly the same thing. So I always tell traders bullish or bearish, and I'll give you an opinion. If you want to take the other side of that opinion, you don't want to take the other side of this spread, right? You don't want to be selling the unbalanced butterfly as opposed to buying it. You just want to take the puts versus the calls or vice versa. You'll notice that when we add this into our analysis graph, that we get more of a Batman or a cat ears type look to it. And to me, this is always so much better than an iron condor, right? Because if you're doing an iron condor and one of your ranges is threatened, your risk really starts to pick up. Where in this case, if you move to that expected range, that is actually where your profits will peak. And keep in mind, this will be a better strategy tomorrow as well, because you're moving from Thursday into Friday as opposed to Wednesday into Thursday. So where tomorrow, these spreads will still have some time premium on them. If you do them for Apple, when you open up on Friday, there's just that day, right? There's no additional days of time premium, and that's going to bring the crush to these faster, and you should be able to realize what I think will be a high probability profit trade. So I hope you found that helpful if you guys participate in those. I know you're familiar with the strategy. If not, I hope it brings something to your earning setups, and we'll be covering all of this again in the chat room tomorrow morning. So y'all have a great rest of your night, and I hope to see you there. Hey traders, this is Henry with simplertrading.com. I wanted to thank you for watching today's video. I hope you found it helpful, and if so, be sure to click the like and subscribe buttons down below. If you would like to also see me putting these ideas into action and trading my own account live in front of you, be sure to sign up at simplertrading.com, and I hope to see you in the chat room sometime soon.